Hey Salesforce Hubs, welcome to today's session. My name is Shruti Aman. I'm a Salesforce coach and a YouTuber. Today we are combining two dangerous areas, trigger recursion and API callout integration. Most developers know them separately, very few know how to design them together safely. And this is exactly the kind of scenario asked in Capgemini level interviews. When an account becomes customer, we must call an external API, send account details, store the API response in a field called external ID, avoid recursion, keep it bulk safe. This is a scenario which you have to execute. Now let's build it professionally. Before I execute the code, I want you to understand that the record insert and save is post commit, and the validation rules are part of the before triggers, and after triggers are part of the workflow or the process builder based on the commit, that is the after save. When we summarize the before triggers logic to the client, we should be able to understand that the lead or the account which is converted to an opportunity is part of this before trigger curriculum, where after trigger can be part of this curriculum only if the save is post commit, that is after triggers are used in the scenario. Now let's head towards the trigger and understand the logic behind the trigger. Now before I start explaining the trigger logic, I want you to understand that the trigger can be part of this curriculum only if we use separate logic, easy testing and interview best practice. That is to use a trigger that is after update when we think of using with sharing in the handler class. So when we speak about the account handler class, the private static set ID will be part of the new set ID only if we execute the for loop, and we have to add the accounts to call out as a functionality, and when we execute the for loop in the call out, that is the Queueable class, we have to use the set ID, set method, set endpoint based on the creation of the endpoint, and we have to get the status code ID, that is the error ID, which is 200, and the get status code should be part of the method, that is the HTTP callout method. Account is part of the external ID, and once we update the list of accounts, we should be able to modify the integration with the enqueue job. Now, why we use set is because it prevents same record processing twice, prevents recursion, and it is bulk safe. Important rule: you cannot use callouts directly inside triggers, so we use Queueable Apex. Now when we replace the modified code, that is with the enqueue job, we should understand that the callouts are part of this integration, and we have to use the recursive functionality, that is the page refresh functionality. And when it comes to the retrieval, that is the handler class with the Apex handler class which is related to integration, we have to use the reactive functionality, that is the callout which allows the integration to be part of the HTTPS method. And after callout completes, we update external ID that fires trigger again, but our set prevents reprocessing, that is controlled recursion. Recursion prevention ensures logic runs once per transaction per record. Why this design is interview strong is because it's thin trigger, it is a thin trigger, it, it has a handler pattern, it is static, and static set recursion control can be part of the method. Queueable for callout, bulk save, single update outside loop with sharing with respect to the security. If interviewer asks why not future method, that is, if you are answering this question, Queueable is preferred because supports complex objects, better monitoring, can change jobs more scalable. So the common mistakes that we make as developers is callout inside trigger, DML inside loop, no old map comparison, Boolean recursion control, ignoring bulk behavior. Avoid these, you look senior automatically. Recursion control is not about stopping execution. It is about designing transaction awareness. API integration is not about sending JSON. It is about asynchronous design, limit safety, security compliance, clean architecture. When you combine both properly, you move from developer to integration architect. If you want the next session to be conducted with regards to the post functionality, I want you to understand that the subsidiary, that is the curriculum which I am quoting as a reference to this channel, should be shared in the social media platforms, and I want you to understand that the preclude, that is to encourage the audience to participate in this activity, that is to write this trigger which is an after update using the context variables, but the context variables can be part of this code only if we use trigger.isAfter and isUpdate, and the new and old map concept will be part of this curriculum only if we execute this code as a security norm and not as a cascaded statement. Now, if we think about the future as developers, we should understand that the recursive functionality is part of this curriculum, and you can execute this code only if you feel that the code is safe between the two identicals. And if we want to synchronize the Apex terminologies that we use, that is to use the HTTP request, that is this part of the code, then we have to use a wrapper class and then execute the code. And as a suggestion, I would request you to use a handler class, which is a best practice. Thank you. Have a great day.